Hey Todd, just talking about your offense. There's so many categories you guys are really good in. I think you're tied for second in points, and we know the kind of year that Chris is having, and Baker leads in touchdowns. What's been working? Is it execution, obviously, but also maybe the different looks, the motions, you're creating a lot of explosives right now.
It's not just the different looks, it's the options Baker has at the line of scrimmage and checking to the right play, the communication with him and Liam as far as to what they're seeing and what we're trying to do and get accomplished. I think it's been working well.
And how'd you come out injury wise? I know Mike didn't play all the plays, obviously, and then you had some guys go out.
There's still some guys nicked up. Everybody hasn't come in yet, so we don't have a final report.
Gotcha. Thanks.
We'll go to Greg Allman.
Hey, Todd, just wanted to ask you about the decision to run more in the second half, when that came about, whose idea was it, and how strongly you guys shifted to that to run as well as he did. I think it was 172 yards in the fourth quarter.
We broke some runs, so that made it a little more feasible to run the ball. Obviously, it's all Liam's idea. He's the offensive coordinator and runs the plays. And between Bucky and Sean, they broke some runs outside and was setting up some blocks pretty good, and it was working for us, so we stayed with it.
Todd, you lost Jamel Dean early in that game. Funderburk goes from having never played an NFL defensive snap to playing 60 out of 70 snaps. How did you think he held up? I don't know whether you're going to need him in the same capacity again a week from now, but how did you think he handled that?
I thought he did well. Obviously, he learned a lot of things while he was out there, but he settled down and played some football for us, and he was in the right place. I know he got beat for the touchdown. His eyes were in the wrong place, but I thought he played well. I thought he wasn't too afraid at the moment, and he's only going to get better.
Thanks, Todd.
Scott Reynolds.
Todd, can you speak to the game that Sean Tucker had? I mean, it's one thing to come in, as your third running back on your depth chart. He was elevated to number 2 yesterday with White being out, and give you some meaningful snaps. But I mean, he exploded onto the scene, 7 explosive plays. Is that worthy of him making this kind of a three-headed monster at running back for you guys now?
It's definitely worthy of him making it a three-headed monster. He took advantage of his opportunities. He ran away from some tackles, some linebackers. He ran through the hole. He cut back. He made some great plays. He caught the ball well out of the backfield. So that gives us three-headed monsters.
When you look at your team right now at 4-2, you're starting to maybe find some identity on offense and defense. What do you think is your identity on offense and defense as you progress into the second part of the season here?
Right now, it's just resiliency. Us coming back and forming toughness in the second half and learning off our mistakes. If we can eliminate the penalties and we can eliminate shooting ourselves in the foot, which we're cutting down more and more, I think we have a chance to be a very good team.
Thank you, Todd.
Jenna Wayne.
Hey, Coach. Hope everybody's houses are okay now that you guys have returned. I was curious, what did you say to this team at halftime, if anything?
We just made our adjustments. We showed lack of composure in the first half. We really talked about that before the game. The penalties piled up on us. We were getting false starts. We were getting penalties on defense. We showed lack of composure. It's a loud place. We had to calm down against the division opponent. We know if we can keep our composure in the second half and cut down on the mistakes, we thought we can make some plays. We made some adjustments from a coaching standpoint. Those guys went out and executed.
What is key to keeping composure in a situation like that, especially in a week where emotions are riding high? Players have to bring their families to a whole nother state to evacuate. They don't know what the condition of their homes are going to be.
I mean, it's sudden change. That's part of football. That's part of life. Things are going to happen to you daily that you're going to have to make adjustments to, and you're going to have to keep your composure when you do them. And those guys did a good job in the second half.
JC Allen.
Todd, can you just talk about the play of Tyke Smith? I think he's kind of gone a little bit under the radar the last couple of weeks and explodes under the scene. Just, where are you at with him? Obviously, I'm sure you're pleased with his play, but just talk about what he's been able to do as a rookie coming in.
He probably gets the most veteran treatment out of all the rookies because he doesn't make as many mistakes as everybody else. He made a few last week that he cleaned up on yesterday. He played an outstanding game. He covered well. He tackled well. He blitzed well. He played zone well. He punched the ball out. He got an interception. All around play all year has been outstanding for him. We kind of take it for granted that he's a cornerback because he's an edge setter as well. He plays safety for us. He plays backer. And to do that as a rookie coming in that spot, Izzy did it last year. Tyke's probably a little headier or ahead of him in that space where he is at this time this year. And he's a heck of a football player for us.
And Todd, you guys have won and lost in very different ways this season. Can you just talk about what that does for teams' confidence to know that, hey, you can get blown out one week and then lose, in an overtime game. You can, break the doors off somebody and win a close game like you do. Like what does that do for a team going forward and their confidence and their ability to know that, hey, we can bounce back from things and we can win many different ways?
It helps us mature faster. Last year, it took us a couple losses in a row before we could bounce back off of these things. This year, we're learning from our mistakes that week, and we correct our mistakes, and they go out the next week and they execute it. So, from a maturity standpoint, it says that we're growing faster.
Rick Schrock.
Hey, Coach, what do you attribute Chris Godwin just having a monster year, and how much he's back in the slot obviously, but how much is he helping you in the run game as well?
He's helping a great deal in the run game. I mean, he's helping as much in the run game as he is in the pass game. He's playing a great all-around type of play. His football game speaks for itself. Haven't fully motivated in the off season, some personal things that I'm sure happened to him that he's still motivated from, and he's healthy, he's competitive, he's out there having fun. He's running, he's catching, he's blocking, and you're seeing the best of what Chris Godwin has right now.
And first game back for Antoine Winfield Jr., he gets in the end zone, obviously, so that's a nice place to start. But what'd you make of his first performance back?
Well, winning Cansey back, the defense definitely felt it. Felt it. You felt Cansey up front. You felt Winfield in the back end. You felt the confidence that they rose to a different level, especially in the second half. And those guys played well.
Greg Allman.
Todd, I wanted to ask you about punter. You went back to Camarda on Sunday. It seemed like that was as much a function of needing those practice squad elevations for injury depth elsewhere. And obviously, the one punt was returned for a touchdown. I don't know how much of that you put on him versus the coverage, but just want to ask you where things stand moving forward with your punters.
Well, it'll be ebb and tide. We'll flow and get through the week, depending on who we have to bring up. Jake's had some good practices, so he got the punt. Gil's had some good practices the other week, so he gets the punt. We'll see, and we'll measure it day by day. As a return man, as a punt returner and a tackler, anybody on the punt team, you got to tackle the ball carrier regardless of where the ball's punted. We got to get the guy down, whether we want to go right and the ball's left or left and the ball goes right, doesn't matter. We got to see the ball and get the ball down as cover guys.
Okay, thanks, Todd.
Scott Reynolds.
Todd, you guys have had an eruption in the sack department with 15 sacks over the last 3 games. Kind of correlates with the points that are being scored by your offense. Just as a defensive play caller, when you have an offense that can put 30 points up on an opponent and give you the lead as a defensive play caller, how much does that just help you with your pressure packages and allow you to get into your bag and do some things with those exotic looks to see the sacks and the interceptions come as they did in the second half yesterday?
It definitely helps. If you can get a lead and you can make somebody one-dimensional, the gym bag is open. You can kind of reach in and pull out anything you want to pull out. Those guys start flying around making plays, and you can see the results.
Thanks, Todd.
We have time for a few more. We'll go to JC Allen, then Jenna Lane.
So I want to ask you about the outside linebacker room. Obviously, Chris Braswell got in there. It was a half sack, I think. What have you seen from him coming, through this season so far? Is he where you want him to be? And then Anthony Nelson, just talk about his steady performance. We know he's at Steady Eddie, but also on special teams. He's leading the team, I think, in special team snaps on a weekly basis as well. Just talk about both of those guys and their play.
And Braswell's come a long way. Like I said before, the spot he's playing is the hardest position on defense to play, the outside backer spot, because of what we ask him to do. He's getting all the coverage stuff down. You can see him starting to rush the passer better and better because he's playing faster and he's not thinking as much, and the game's coming to him naturally. So we like where he is right now. Nelly's been steady Eddie. We don't talk about him much because he always does his job. You know, it kind of goes under the radar a little bit, but he's always back there. He plays the run the right way. He reroutes the right way. He pass drops the right way. And he does a heck of a lot of things on special teams. So he's kind of an unsung all the way around player for us.
Gentlemen.
Hey, Coach, along the lines of composure again, the importance of you as a head coach maintaining your composure, because I've heard often players say they feed off of the temperament and the demeanor of their head coach. How just advantageous is it in a situation like that when you are able to keep your composure and trying to get your team back on track?
It helps, especially in those loud stadiums on the road. It definitely helped yesterday. Those guys got together at halftime. That shows maturity of the team, and they came out with composure. In the past, we would have been rattled all the way through the third quarter, so it shows some growth. I thought the veterans did a good job of leading the younger guys out there and making plays. And once we went out, I think we didn't look up at the clock one time. We looked down. We played football. We played hard-nosed football, and we came out and made some plays.
I know that guys are still assessing their situations right now. Do you guys foresee any logistical challenges with the storm of players and coaches even getting to practice, having places to live? I know there's a major gas shortage that's still going on right now, so I don't know if that impacts you guys' ability to practice.
Right now, it doesn't impact our ability to practice. We'll assess the situation going forward. There's a few of us that are still in hotels right now, but getting to work seems to be no problem.
All right, that's all we have time for.
At Taco John's, you can expect one thing: so good. As in quality ingredients used in tacos and burritos made just for you. Every single bite.
So good.
Expect nothing less at Taco John's.